I still remember that electrifying moment as if it were splashed in neon across my very soul, the moment I learned that my wife had left me for a doctor, shattering our shared dreams with one cold, callous revelation. In those first 100 heartbeats, every promise of love, every quiet hope for our future, disintegrated into a storm of betrayal and disbelief. And yet, as the shock subsided, a fierce determination ignited within me. I swore then that I'd reclaim my worth and forge a future defined by my own hands. Little did she know that while she clung to an illusion, I was destined to become a surgeon, and she'd be left with nothing but a fraud. For as long as I can remember, medicine had been my refuge, my passion, and my escape. I'd spent years immersed in textbooks and hospital corridors, dreaming of a life where I could heal, help, and build something meaningful. Every sacrifice I made, those sleepless nights in the emergency room, the endless hours studying in dimly lit libraries, was a promise to myself that I would rise above the ordinary. I believed that hard work and relentless determination would ultimately define my success. I had dedicated myself to this vocation, believing that the path I walked was paved with integrity and compassion. But nothing could have prepared me for the day when the person I loved, the one who had shared in my dreams and supported my aspirations, chose another, someone who, at the time, appeared to be everything I was not. It was a crisp autumn evening at a dinner party meant to celebrate our anniversary, a night that should have been filled with laughter, warm memories, and the comfortable hum of shared history. The elegant dining room, adorned with soft candlelight and the gentle murmur of conversation, became the stage for a betrayal I never saw coming. As I sat at the table with my wife, I noticed something was off, a distracted glance here, an almost imperceptible sigh there. I attributed these moments to the fatigue of a long day, until the conversation took a sharp, irreversible turn. In the midst of a toast, my wife, with a tremor in her voice and a pained expression that barely masked her inner turmoil, confessed that she had fallen in love with a doctor, a man who represented everything our life together was not. I could barely process the words as they tumbled out, each syllable hammering into the foundation of everything I believed. The world around me blurred into insignificance. For a few agonizing moments I sat frozen, my mind reeling, my heart shattering with every word. I saw the doctor's face in my wife's eyes, a visage I had once trusted, now alien and cold. I felt as though the ground had fallen away beneath me, leaving me suspended in a void of betrayal. In that heart-wrenching silence I made a decision. I would not be defined by this loss. I would channel the pain, the humiliation, and the burning desire for justice into something transformative. I would pursue my dreams with renewed vigor, even if it meant walking away from the life we'd built together. In the aftermath, I retreated to the solitude of my small apartment, where every room whispered echoes of a happier past, a past now marred by her confession. I spent countless hours staring at the blank pages of my journal, questioning every moment, every sacrifice I had made. I remembered the nights when I stayed up studying medical texts, the long shifts that left my body aching but my spirit unbroken, and the silent pride I felt knowing that I was paving a path toward greatness. It was in that crucible of heartbreak that I rediscovered the core of my identity, a fierce commitment to my own dreams and an unwavering belief in the power of resilience. I began to see that her betrayal, as painful as it was, could be the catalyst for a new beginning. I immersed myself in my work with a fervor that I had never known before. Long hours in the hospital, once a source of stress and exhaustion, transformed into a crucible of growth and opportunity. I started to notice that every life I touched, every patient I helped, rekindled a spark within me, a reminder that my passion for healing was stronger than any heartbreak. My colleagues, too, seemed to notice a subtle change. They saw a man who, despite the weight of personal tragedy, was determined to push forward with a clarity and focus that inspired everyone around him. That night, as I closed the journal with trembling hands and a heart heavy with both sorrow and resolve, I made a silent vow to myself. I would reclaim my life. I would embrace the path of self-discovery and transformation, forging a future defined by my own ambitions. I resolved that I would become the surgeon I always dreamed of being, a testament to the power of perseverance and the unyielding strength of the human spirit. I would let her, who had chosen another over the promise we once shared, face the consequences of her decisions, while I built a legacy of integrity, success, and undeniable worth. In that moment of profound clarity, I knew that the journey ahead would be arduous, filled with challenges both professional and personal. But I also knew that it was my journey, unique, uncharted, and entirely my own. The pain of betrayal was a heavy burden, but it was also the fuel that would drive me to heights I had never imagined. And so, with a quiet determination burning in my heart, I stepped away from the life we once knew, ready to embrace the future, to transform every setback into a stepping stone, and to build a legacy that would outshine even the deepest scars of the past. In the immediate aftermath of that fateful night, the night when my wife's confession of infidelity left me reeling, I found myself plunged into an inner maelstrom of emotions that forced me to confront my own identity in ways I never expected. Over the following weeks, I immersed myself completely in my work, determined to transform the searing pain of betrayal into a driving force for change. I threw myself into every challenge at the hospital, each case a crucible where my long-held passion for healing met the raw urgency of life. My days began at dawn, when the hospital corridors were still quiet and the air was cool with anticipation. As I scrubbed in for surgery, I felt the adrenaline course through me like a promise. I was not going to let the rejection define me. Instead, I focused on the task at hand with an intensity that surprised even my colleagues. Every operation I performed became a silent testament to my newfound resolve. With every precise incision, every calculated move during surgery, I was rewriting the narrative of my life. The operating room, with its rhythmic beeping of monitors and the focused hum of medical instruments, became my sanctuary, a place where I could channel my heartbreak into unwavering determination. I began to excel in ways that I had only dreamed of before. Procedures that once seemed daunting now unfolded under my steady hands as I navigated them with a confidence that was both exhilarating and liberating. Each successful surgery not only saved a life but also fortified my belief in my own strength, proving that I was more than the sum of someone else's betrayal. Outside the hospital, my journey toward professional excellence intertwined with an equally challenging personal transformation. I spent countless nights poring over medical journals and case studies in my small apartment, determined to refine my skills and become the surgeon I had always aspired to be. The memory of her departure haunted me in quiet moments, flashes of her tearful confession, the stark silence of that dark night, but these painful recollections became the fuel for my ambition. I set new goals for myself, goals that were as ambitious as they were deeply personal. I enrolled in advanced surgical courses, attended specialized training sessions, and even participated in international conferences, where I could learn from the brightest minds in medicine. Every lecture, every workshop, every new technique I mastered was a small victory, a reaffirmation that I was forging a path defined solely by my own hard work and dedication. During these months, I encountered moments of deep introspection that reshaped my understanding of self-worth. There were times, in the quiet hours before sunrise, when I would find myself alone on the hospital rooftop, gazing at the awakening city below. The cool breeze, the soft glow of the emerging day, and the distant hum of traffic all served as a gentle reminder that life continued regardless of the chaos within. In those moments of solitude, I began to meditate on the lessons of resilience. I realized that every challenge I faced, every tear, every sleepless night, had prepared me for this transformation. I was learning to see my worth not in the eyes of others, but in the quiet, unyielding determination that resided within me. It was a slow, painful process of reclaiming parts of myself that had been buried beneath years of unspoken compromises and shared sacrifices. I also sought therapy to help untangle the complex web of emotions swirling in my heart. In our sessions, I recounted every detail of that fateful night, the shock of her confession, the unbearable ache of betrayal, and the moment I realized that my life was about to change forever. My therapist encouraged me to confront the pain head-on, to understand that healing was not about forgetting but about transforming sorrow into strength. Through these sessions I learned to forgive, not for her sake but for my own freedom. I began to see that the bitterness I once harbored was a heavy burden that would only impede my journey forward. Slowly, I began to let go of the anger, replacing it with a measured resolve to shape my future based on my own dreams and aspirations. As the months passed, the turning tide of my personal and professional transformation began to show tangible results. I received recognition from my superiors for innovative approaches in the operating room. Each accolade, every nod of approval, served as a testament that I was not defined by my past but by the relentless drive that propelled me forward. I was promoted to lead a specialized surgical unit, a position that not only validated my skills but also solidified my place in a field that I had fought so hard to master. The promotion was more than a career milestone. It was a declaration that I had overcome the sting of betrayal and emerged stronger, more capable, and more determined than ever. With every success at work, I also started rebuilding my personal life. I reconnected with old friends who had always seen me for who I truly was, a passionate, driven individual with a deep commitment to excellence. We met over coffee, sharing memories of the past and discussing our hopes for the future. Their unwavering support and honest encouragement were a balm to my wounded heart. I learned that true friendship is built on authenticity, and these renewed connections helped me see that my worth was not diminished by the choices of another, but enhanced by my ability to rise above adversity. In parallel, I began exploring creative outlets as a means of self-expression. I took up writing again, channeling my emotions into essays and blog posts that recounted the highs and lows of my journey. With each word, I turned pain into art, a narrative of heartbreak, perseverance, and eventual triumph. The act of writing became a daily ritual, a time when I could reflect on the lessons of the day and plan for the future. I even joined a local writers group, where sharing my experiences with others who had faced similar hardships provided a sense of solidarity and mutual healing. Throughout this period, I maintained a rigorous routine that balanced work, therapy, and personal growth. Mornings were reserved for exercise, long runs that cleared my mind and set a positive tone for the day. Afternoons were dedicated to my work at the hospital, where every patient I helped, every successful procedure, was a step forward on the road to reclaiming my identity. Evenings were spent in quiet reflection, reading, writing, and meditating on the progress I was making. This discipline not only restored a sense of order in my life but also provided a structure that helped me manage the emotional turbulence of my recent past. I also started setting concrete goals for the future, ones that were solely my own and not tied to the promises of a partnership that had now dissolved. I envisioned a life where I continued to advance in my career, where I could make groundbreaking contributions to the field of surgery, and where my professional achievements would serve as a lasting legacy of my resilience. I drafted plans for further education and even considered starting a research project that could lead to innovative surgical techniques. Each goal, each small victory reinforced the truth that I was no longer a passive victim of circumstances. I was a man in control of his destiny. Every decision was a conscious step toward building a future defined by my own standards of success. And then, in one particularly reflective moment, I found myself looking at a photograph from that fateful anniversary dinner, a moment frozen in time when her confession had shattered our shared dreams. As I stared at the image, a surge of emotions washed over me. I felt the sting of betrayal once more, but it was now tempered by the profound growth I had experienced since that night. I realized that while the pain would always be a part of my story, it no longer had the power to dictate my future. Instead, it had become the catalyst for a transformation that was both painful and profoundly liberating. I understood that the journey from heartbreak to empowerment was marked by every small act of defiance, every silent victory over the forces that had once tried to define me. I had built a new identity, one that was rooted in the unwavering belief in my own worth and the relentless pursuit of my dreams. As the seasons changed and the weight of that past betrayal gradually lifted, I felt an undeniable sense of progress, not just in my career and finances but in the way I viewed myself. The man I had been, who once questioned his value and suffered in silence, was now evolving into someone who embraced his strengths with quiet pride. Every day as I moved through my carefully structured routine, I felt a growing confidence, a realization that I had, indeed, reclaimed my future. The promotion at work, the supportive network of friends, the steady growth in my professional endeavors, and the creative expression through writing all combined to form a mosaic of resilience. Each piece of that mosaic was a testament to the power of choosing oneself, to the idea that even in the darkest moments, there is a path forward paved with hope and determination. In these months of relentless effort and introspection, I began to see that my journey was not just a personal struggle, but part of a larger narrative of human resilience. I started engaging with support groups and forums where people shared their own stories of betrayal and recovery. Listening to others, I realized that the pain I had experienced was universal, a shared burden that, when faced head-on, could lead to profound growth and transformation. Every conversation, every shared moment of vulnerability, reinforced the idea that true empowerment comes from within. I learned that every setback was an opportunity to rebuild, and every moment of despair was a precursor to an even greater triumph. In that shared understanding, I found a renewed sense of purpose, a mission to not only rebuild my own life but to inspire others to find the strength to rise above their own betrayals. As the weeks turned into months, I also began to lay the groundwork for my long-term vision, a future where I would continue to thrive professionally, explore new creative horizons, and build a life that was entirely my own. I started drafting detailed plans for further advancing my career in surgery, outlining steps for further education, research projects, and leadership roles that would allow me to push the boundaries of what was possible in my field. I knew that each new challenge I faced was an opportunity to redefine what success meant to me, a success that was measured not by the approval of others, but by my own unwavering standards and relentless drive. I looked forward to a future where my work would not only heal bodies but also inspire others, where my journey of transformation would serve as a beacon of hope for those struggling to reclaim their own identities after betrayal. In every facet of this journey, from the solitary runs at dawn to the late-night strategy sessions at the hospital, from the heartfelt therapy sessions to the quiet joy of creative expression, I was forging a new path, one that was resilient, self-determined, and unapologetically mine. I was reclaiming not just my career but my very identity, a transformation that was slowly but surely writing a new chapter in my life story. Every day as I took one determined step after another, I felt the scars of the past heal a little more, replaced by a deep, abiding belief in my own worth. That morning, as the first rays of dawn filtered through the curtains of my empty home, I felt a profound clarity wash over me, a sense of liberation so complete that it seemed to erase the lingering shadows of yesterday. The house, once filled with the echoes of our shared dreams and whispered promises, now stood as a silent monument to a love that had crumbled under the weight of betrayal. I woke up to the stark reality of a divorce notice left on the kitchen table, a document that marked the end of a chapter one had once believed was eternal. And yet, as I sat alone with a steaming cup of coffee, I felt not only the sting of loss but also the powerful surge of self-reclamation. I had chosen to leave a life that no longer honored who I truly was, and in that decision, I discovered a resilience I never knew existed. The days after that night were a blur of mixed emotions, a turbulent storm of grief, anger, and an emergent resolve. I wandered through the empty halls of the home we had built together, each room a painful reminder of what was lost. The living room, once a vibrant gathering space filled with laughter and warmth, now held only silence. In the quiet, I replayed memories of our happier times, the soft murmur of our conversations over dinner, the way her eyes would light up when she talked about the future, the gentle touch that once reassured me of our bond. Those recollections were bittersweet, and yet they became the fuel for my transformation. Every memory, however painful, taught me something about the nature of love, compromise, and ultimately self-respect. In the wake of that devastating moment, I knew I had to rebuild, both my inner world and my tangible future. I started by locking myself away in my study, where the only sounds were the steady tick of the clock and my own heartbeat echoing in the silence. There, with trembling hands, I began to write. I poured out every emotion onto paper, the overwhelming sorrow, the searing anger, and the profound realization that I was worth more than the shattered promises we once shared. Page after page, my journal transformed from a repository of grief into a blueprint for a new beginning. I set goals for myself that were as bold as they were deeply personal. I wrote about wanting to rediscover my passions, those parts of me that had been sacrificed in the name of compromise, and about the determination to reclaim every dream I had once believed was only possible for us together. As I immersed myself in this introspective work, I also took practical steps to secure my future. I revisited my finances with a meticulous eye, ensuring that every saved dollar, every investment I had made, would now serve as the cornerstone for a life solely my own. I met with financial advisors who confirmed that my careful planning had indeed provided me with a safety net. The reassurance of a stable financial future was both empowering and bittersweet, a reminder that while our shared savings were gone, I still possessed the means to build something new. I began exploring the possibility of purchasing a modest home that reflected my newfound independence, a place where I could decorate every corner with my own style, fill the rooms with memories of resilience and hope, and finally start living the life I had always dreamed of. At the same time, I made a conscious decision to invest in myself. I enrolled in professional courses to further hone my skills and expand my career opportunities. I sought out mentors who had navigated their own storms of heartbreak and emerged stronger, learning from their experiences and applying that wisdom to my own journey. Late nights at work turned from moments of quiet desperation into opportunities for growth and innovation. Every challenging project I undertook, every extra hour I dedicated to perfecting my craft, was a declaration that I was reclaiming my identity as someone capable, determined, and deserving of success. Work became a sanctuary, a place where I could transform my pain into productivity and prove to the world, and to myself, that I was more than the sum of my losses. I dove into projects with a fervor that surprised even me. I initiated new strategies, led teams with an assertiveness that had been dormant for far too long, and gradually, my efforts began to be recognized. A promotion followed, one that felt like a resounding affirmation of my decision to stand by my own dreams. The acknowledgement from colleagues and superiors wasn't just a career milestone, It was a personal vindication, a powerful reminder that my hard work, persistence and unwillingness to compromise had paved the way for my resurgence. Each accolade, every congratulatory handshake, built a mosaic of self-worth that I had spent years questioning, and now it shone with undeniable brilliance. Outside the relentless pace of my professional life, I also turned inward to mend the deeper emotional wounds. I sought therapy, attending sessions that allowed me to unpack the layers of betrayal, sadness, and disillusionment. My therapist helped me understand that while the sting of betrayal might never fully disappear, it could be transformed into a source of strength, a wellspring from which I could draw the courage to start anew. We talked about forgiveness, not in the sense of excusing the actions that had hurt me, but as a way of liberating myself from the lingering chains of resentment. Slowly, I began to see that forgiveness was not about forgetting the past, but about freeing myself to embrace the future with an open heart. Simultaneously, I reconnected with friends who had always known the real me, the person who was passionate, kind, and relentlessly optimistic. I attended intimate gatherings where over coffee and heartfelt conversation, we shared our experiences of love, loss, and renewal. Their unwavering support was like a balm for my wounded spirit, reminding me that even in the darkest times, genuine connection can light the way forward. In those moments, I began to understand that my journey was not a solitary battle, but a shared experience of human vulnerability and resilience. Every encouraging word, every shared tear, and every smile that broke through the sorrow reinforced the truth that my worth was inherent, independent of the betrayal I had suffered. I also allowed myself to rediscover the passions I had long set aside. I returned to the things that had once filled my soul with joy, a deep love of music, the solace of reading, and the creative release of writing. I picked up my old guitar, its strings resonating with the chords of my newfound freedom, and I lost myself in the gentle melodies that seemed to speak directly to my heart. I began to write again, not just in my journal but in a blog where I could share my story with others who might find solace in my words. The act of creative expression became a crucial part of my healing process, a way to transform raw emotion into art, a tangible reminder that beauty can be born even from the depths of pain. In those long, solitary hours, I also set new personal goals. I envisioned a future where I would travel to places that had always ignited my curiosity, where I would immerse myself in different cultures and let each experience broaden my understanding of the world. I dreamed of building a home that was a true reflection of my individuality, a sanctuary filled with light, warmth, and memories of the journey that had made me who I am. I set aside time each day to plan for these new dreams, knowing that each small step was part of a larger, transformative process. I made lists, drew sketches, and mapped out a future that was vibrant with possibility, a future where every challenge I had overcome would serve as a stepping stone to a life defined solely by my own choices. As the seasons changed, so too did the tapestry of my life begin to transform in vivid detail. The cold, biting pain of betrayal gradually gave way to a warm, resilient glow that emanated from deep within. My professional achievements, once shadowed by heartbreak, now shone as clear evidence of my strength and determination. I began to see my promotion not merely as a career milestone, but as a personal victory, a symbol of the power of self-belief. Every day as I moved through my meticulously structured routine, from the early morning runs that cleared my mind to the late-night strategy sessions at work, I felt a growing sense of purpose. I was no longer defined by the betrayal that had once threatened to shatter my dreams. Instead, I was carving out a future that was unburdened by the past. The transformation extended to my personal relationships as well. I cultivated new friendships with people who celebrated authenticity and shared a commitment to personal growth. We would meet for quiet dinners, long walks, and spontaneous adventures that filled my life with laughter and genuine connection. In these moments, I discovered that true companionship isn't measured by the absence of pain, but by the shared ability to overcome it. Each supportive conversation was a reminder that I was not alone in my journey, that many had faced similar betrayals and had emerged stronger on the other side. Their stories, intertwined with my own, became a source of inspiration, reinforcing the belief that every ending can be the prelude to a breathtaking new beginning. By now, the idea of a future defined by my own ambitions was no longer just a distant dream. It was a tangible, unfolding reality. I finalized plans for a modest home, a safe haven where I could fully embrace my independence and creativity. Every step of the home buying process was imbued with symbolism: the signing of contracts, the exchange of keys, the quiet moments spent imagining a life of my own making. That new home wasn't merely a structure, it was the physical embodiment of my transformation, a space where every wall and window reflected the strength, resilience, and unwavering hope that had carried me through the darkest chapters of my life. In the midst of all these changes, I continued to share my journey with the world. I spoke at small community events and even contributed articles to local publications, telling the story of how I had risen from the ashes of betrayal to reclaim my destiny. Each time I shared my experiences, I received messages from others who had felt the sting of similar betrayals. Messages that praised my courage, validated my struggles, and inspired them to believe in their own capacity to rise above adversity. It was in these moments of public vulnerability that I discovered the profound truth. By sharing my story, I was not only healing myself but also lighting the way for others. My journey, once a private agony, had become a beacon of hope, a reminder that even when the heart is broken, it can still beat with the rhythm of determination and unyielding strength. Now, as I stand on the precipice of a future filled with endless possibility, I feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude for every moment that has brought me here. The betrayal that once threatened to destroy my world has, through countless challenges and hard-won victories, been transformed into the foundation of a new beginning. I have reclaimed my identity, re-established my career, and built a financial future that is robust and secure. More than that, I have rediscovered the essence of who I am, a man defined not by the scars of his past, but by the strength and resilience that have allowed him to rise again. I know that the road ahead will still have its obstacles. There will be days when the memories of that devastating night resurface, when the echoes of her betrayal feel all too real. But I also know that I have grown far beyond those moments. I have learned that true empowerment comes from within, from the ability to transform pain into purpose and to build a future that reflects your most authentic self. Every setback I encountered, every tear I shed, has been a stepping stone on this long, winding journey toward self-discovery and fulfillment. As I close the door on that painful chapter and step boldly into tomorrow, I carry with me a quiet, unshakable conviction. My destiny is mine to shape. I have built my future on the solid foundations of hard work, perseverance, and an unwavering belief in my own worth. And though the scars of betrayal may never completely fade, they no longer hold me back. They serve as enduring symbols of the strength that resides within me. I have transformed my heartache into a legacy of resilience, and I stand ready to embrace a future that is as bright and boundless as the dreams I once dared to imagine. This is my story, a saga of heartbreak turned into triumph, of betrayal transformed into the catalyst for profound personal growth. It is a testament to the indomitable spirit of a man who refused to be defined by the actions of someone who once claimed to love him. I have risen from the ashes, built a life that is entirely my own, and continue to move forward with a heart full of hope, a mind sharpened by every challenge, and a spirit that is as unyielding as it is free. And as I look toward the horizon, I do so knowing that every step, every decision, is a testament to the power of choosing oneself, one courageous, determined step at a time.